Well, I guess this didn't have any aging on it. The aging was just the yuckiness of years of grime.
Oh my goodness, yes, that was a dirty piece, but oh, when I run across a roll top or bread box, I cannot pass them up. So that is what is today's video. I just happened to run across 3 roll top bread boxes. Oh my goodness, be still my heart. So I'm going to share with you the process of making these over. And we got a couple that aren't going to be extreme because they are already gorgeous pieces. But
So I cannot believe that I ran across 3. Do you see them? 3 roll top bread boxes. Oh, be still my heart, because these sell really well. And if I'm making another one of these videos over for you all, that means I need more in my retail booth. And this one is beautiful. I love the graining of that wood. Oh, okay. So, and they all were around $8. I thrifted them 3 different places. So we had from a $7.99 to a $8.29. So all around the $8 price. And I love the wood of this one, you all. I definitely love the wood. So I'm going to try to save as much as I possibly can. So first I wanted to see if I could get this knob off. The knob's just a square piece of wood. But when I went to unscrew it and then like take a hammer to see if I could hammer it off, it is glued on there. So I thought, okay, if I want to keep this natural, nope, it's just going to go ahead and stay. But as you see, it does have either watermarks or some staining. So I'm going to take some 220 sandpaper and see if I can go ahead and get that off. Hopefully it's just in the first layer of top coat. And it seems to be as I'm sanding it down. But like always, when you get your hand on a piece and you start, some things you just don't see. So as I'm sanding it, I'm like, hey, that bottom's pulling around. Oh, there's crud. There's crud stuck in there. So I'm taking the air compressor, and that powerful air is going to push that out. And then I'm going to go ahead and put some brad nails and tighten this wood back up. I know you saw that when I put the first brad nail in, it split the wood just a little bit, but we will deal with that as we come because you see the inside needs a little bit of work. So we're going to go ahead and keep on sanding. Hopefully all the marks, the watermark that was on top is coming off. Luckily it was just in that layer of top coat, but I love the graining of this wood. And yes, sometimes it is easier if I was trying to get it all the way down to the natural wood to take it apart. But I don't want to put that much effort into it. I think it's sanding and nice and smooth. I'm getting the staining off. It's just, oh my gosh, it is gorgeous. Yeah, y'all, I'm leaving it. Well, real wood, I'm not leaving it as is right now, but I'm going to be leaving it that natural wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tape off the rolling door part for right now because I have a plan for that, but I need to protect that because I'm going to do something else to the body. So now I'm testing out. I want to make sure that this is what is going to work for this. I'm testing out the Howard's Restore and Finish in the dark walnut, and I think, like I said, I didn't take it all the way down to much of the natural here and there, maybe just a little bit, but this is going to refresh it. This is going to bring that wood back to life. It's got a finish coat. I think it's just going to make this absolutely gorgeous. But I am going to go ahead and add the word bread to the front of this one. This just makes it a little bit more updated. I'm just trying to find a nice thick font. You don't want something too thin that you can't see it. So I'm just playing around a little bit to see what font that I like and then typing it out a few times. That's just how it works. There's so many fonts on these machines, but I do know that I want my cutout of my stencils to be nice and bold. If I would have put my restore and finish on here, and actually after I sanded it, I did clean it with some Dawn dish soap and some hot water, so I have a good clean prep surface, my paint wouldn't stick. So that's why I taped that off, and I wanted to make sure that I liked the look that was going with the restore and finish on the rest of the piece. So now I'm just using permanent vinyl, the Oracle 651 in the white, to make a stencil. So I just have some gridded transfer tape in, and now I'm just trying to kind of make sure that I get enough of my lettering on the main slats so that you see it. You don't want to end up one of the top pieces to be hidden in the middle of a slat. So I'm just making sure that that's where I'm placing it. So it may be higher than I wanted it to be, but I needed that B and the swirly parts to be seen and not to be invisible in the middle of a slat. Now for my lettering coloring, I'm going with black. So I'm going to go ahead. I have ready to use black onyx paint. I have a stencil brush. I was going to kind of try this technique. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The slats are always funny like that. Dry brush, definitely technique. You don't want a lot of paint whatsoever on your brush because you don't want it going over, because you can't get your vinyl all the way into those slatted parts. So I'm going to go ahead and do one coat, and since I pre-sanded this, it's soaking in, so I'll have to go ahead and help that dry with a blow dryer, and then I'll go in with my second coat to darken it up. So now that I dried my paint for a second time, I like the black that it is. I'm going to seal that paint in using some polyacrylic, but as you see, I applied some more tape on that front part because I don't want to get any of that polyacrylic on my unfinished wood. Do have a little bit of touch up to do. I probably on my next bread box won't do the stenciling per brush. I'll try some other technique. It did kind of go into the slats, but since I sealed the other paint in with polyacrylic, I just have a Q-tip, a little bit of rubbing alcohol, and I should be able to go in and get that cleaned up. The quicker you do this process, the easier it is to come off. Now that I got that all cleaned off, I'm just taking some steel wool, and I want to make sure that my paint job isn't raised and bumpy. I want to see if I can get that smoothed down a little bit. Now that I have my paint on there, it's sealed in, it's dry, I'm going to go over that entire front using that same Howard's Restore and Finish. And this Restore and Finish is a wipe on, let it sit for, a few seconds, and then wipe off the excess. Oh my gosh, is it not gorgeous? And the final little extra that I like to do to these bread boxes so they're not sitting right on your counter. If your counter gets wet, it's raised up a little bit, is just to put these little rubber feet that we order off of Amazon. They come in black. You can order them in clear. We have some of both, and since I have a black lettering, I'm matching the black feet up to that. Yeah, they're just little rubbers, and then you just screw them right in really easily. it's really the same story with this one. This one is, oh my gosh, gorgeous, gorgeous. And I do believe that all of these, at least the first two, I will say were handmade pieces. But on this one, I can take that knob off, so I'm going to go ahead and get that removed. And of course, I never grab the right screwdriver. You know, you grab a Phillips and it's always a flathead. You grab a flathead, it's always a Phillips. This is a gorgeous bread box. I don't know why people just change their mind, and women, we change our decor. But the only problem that I see with this one is that in the inside, the fabric that keeps the slats all together and keeps it rolling smoothly is starting to lift. So I'm just going to use some spray adhesive and get that glued back down. Now I think the wood is in really good shape on this piece, so I'm just going to go ahead and get it all cleaned up. I just have a bucket of hot water, some Dawn dish soap. It's a great prep. I just want to see if there's anything under the layers of dirt and debris and dust that is accumulated on it, to see if there's any major problems. Can't tell you how happy I was when I'm like, oh no, there's a water stain. If you notice, it has pegs. And I didn't want to have to sand this piece, but it ended up just being candle wax. Yes! I think for this makeover, the biggest part was the cleaning, getting the grease buildup in between the slats, getting the crumbs out of areas where you don't want crumbs if you're going to buy this from me. And then yes, just spending the time to get it all cleaned up. I'm scrolling through my images to see if they have bread. And they do have this bread right here, so I'm going to go ahead and apply that to my canvas. But I don't want all the other wording, so I'm going to my contour feature. I'm using my Cricut, and I'm going to hide all that I do not want. I just want that bread. I really like the B of this bread. So I thought I was going to leave the swirly part, but after I started stretching it out, I decided to get contour and get rid of that also. But now I'm just sizing it appropriate to the bread box. So for my next one, I'm not going to use that stencil brush again. I'm going to go with this makeup sponge from the Dollar Tree store, just a little bit of paint on there, and then try not to squish it, just dabbing it on those slats. So hopefully I won't have so much to clean up afterwards. You almost always have something, just the way that there's slats on this and you can't do the vinyl, but I would really like to make myself less work. And I'm going to go ahead and put a set of those little rubber feet on the bottom of this bread box also, and this is the clear color. I'm going to go ahead and change out the knob on this one. It was not so pretty. This bread box was gorgeous, but that knob was a little bit to be desired. So I'm going to go ahead and freshen it up with a true porcelain knob, not a plastic that's going to yellow over time. So now that really matches that white lettering. And once I got the candle wax off that top, this doesn't really have too many scrapes or anything like that. But I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and give it a fresh drink with this Restore product. And I'm actually, just in case there's any little minute scratches in the top coat, I'm just going to use some steel wool to rub it in and then wipe off the excess. And because I sealed my white paint in with polyacrylic, the paint should not yellow, should not take any of the stain of this Restore product. So it should stay that crisp white. So just wipe on, wipe off. Now our last bread box, it is not going to be so easy. As you see, you can already see a whole bunch of scrapes and scratches on the top of this. So yeah, and they're all the way down into the wood, not just on the top coat. And then there is some grime on the front of this. And then it's got that same thing with that knob has yellowed over time, but this one's got a lot of gunk around the screw itself, so we'll be discarding this. And just so you know, this is not going to be just a scuff sand that I can just use the Restore product on. These gouges are way too deep, so I have to start off with 80 grit and start working out some of those gouges. There's a couple things that attracts me to Breadbox. One, these rolling bread rocks are just a classic look, I feel. And then I always love when I find, and I've done actually made this one over, I can't even tell you how many times, this bread box that has this wording, and I do always try to save it because it's going to save me a step of having to Cricut out another word of bread. But you can automatically right off the bat start telling how much grime is on here. So I am just using a rag and straight distilled vinegar to work through all that grime. Don't necessarily want to use a scraping tool. Why? The front of this is wet. I don't want to gouge into the wood, so I am using just a little bit of steel wool to help me get any more off that I can. And oh my gosh, look at how that's just bringing it right back to life. Now, not only do I want to make sure that I rinse and get all that vinegar off the front of it, I'm also going to go ahead and clean the rest of the box. But I am going to paint the outer body of this bread box. So I'm going to go in and protect that front rolling part using some 2-inch masking tape so I don't get tape on that. And it's all nice and clean. I'm not sure. The Restore may bring it back to life, but I don't want to mess with stain and trying to match stain up to this finish. So that's why I'm choosing to go ahead and do the paint. I'm I'm sure you were wondering, why did she tape off that entire front? Well, now that I've sanded that down, it is a whole bunch of different porosities. We've got raw wood, we've got some stained wood. Hopefully I got the top coat off, but just in case I didn't, I want my finished paint job to be nice and smooth looking. So to even out that porosity, I'm going to go in with a couple coats of shellac. And this is going to act like a primer and help the paint grab onto, but it also is going to even out that wood. And I'm not using my sprayer today, y'all. I've only got this one piece that I'm going to be painting, so I'm just going to go ahead and hand paint it. So I'm just using my ready-to-use, right off the shelf, black onyx paint in the flat sheen that I get from Walmart. And the first coat will seem kind of translucent because it's just grabbing onto that shellac, but it'll really cover up with that second coat. And now that I have my 2 coats of paint on and they are dry, I'm going to go ahead and seal this paint in with a coat of polyacrylic. I love how smooth that top looks now. I don't know if you guys could believe me how deep some of those gouges were that they sanded nice and smooth. So now I'm just taking some 220 sandpaper on the sharp edges, just bringing out some more of those beautiful details of this box. Then after I get all that detail work done, I'm going back in with some fine grit steel wool and we're just going to buff this piece nice and smooth. To bring the black paint back to life, I'm just going to be using some of the Howard Natural Wax. It's a wax on, wax off, but it'll really bring that shine right back. Now to replace the knob on this one, I'm going to go ahead and use a clear glass knob. I don't have a cream one. I don't want to reuse that one that was back on there, and I think white will just stick out too much. It won't be matchy-matchy. And I did paint where that was really scuffed up, that bottom area there where the knob goes. So now we're just going to finish this off with a little bit of the Restore product to liven up any of those areas that just need a drink. And it, oh my gosh, it just quickly revitalizes this.
So thank you so much for watching. What did you think? Yes, that there was nothing wrong with the one wood at all. It was just a beautiful piece. It just really needed to be cleaned up. Somebody must have just been tired of it. And then adding the bread kind of put it in with today's trend. And then same thing with the other one. That one needed a little bit more sanding, but that Howard Restore is an amazing product, y'all, if you have not tried that. And then last but least, Okay, so he had some elbow grease of getting grime off, but it is doable to save that piece, and I love it in black. That black outer shell goes with that black, you know, the detail on the bread itself. Oh my gosh, just gorgeous. And then to tie it all together, a glass knob, why not? So give me a quick comment down below. Have I inspired you to look at secondhand finds in a new way? So again, thank you so much for watching today's video, and you're part of our YouTube family. Thank you so much. And if you're new and you're checking out this channel for the first time and you liked what you saw, please hit that subscription button. Not only do I do smaller items that are secondhand finds, I do furniture flips along with a weekly thrift haul that I love to share my adventures of looking for secondhand finds. So again, thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you next time, and you can see what we're up to. Bye!